Hey guys, Davey here from phonebuff.com, and in this video I'm doing a comparison between the flyover feature on iOS maps and the 3D buildings on Google Earth. Basically, I want to see what the difference is between the two. I have a map of Las Vegas loaded up on both devices here, and we're going to be taking a 3D look at the Bellagio building. So we'll go ahead and zoom in on both phones here. So zoom in here, zoom in here. And at first glance, my first impression is that the 3D building here on iOS maps looks a little bit more realistic than it does on Google Earth. I feel like the 3D buildings on Google Earth are a little bit more cartoonish. I'll go ahead and zoom in a little more so you guys can actually see what I'm talking about. So we'll zoom in that close here, and like that over here. So bring it up close to the camera. So basically you can see, you see more of the detail on the iOS maps, and it just looks more realistic. You get pretty much a cartoon looking 3D building on Google Earth here. I mean, the detail is great, I'm not complaining about that, but it definitely does look more realistic on iOS maps. We'll go ahead and take a look at something else. We'll take a look at the we'll do the water over here. So let me just zoom in on the water. Alright, there you go. So you can see the water here. It's just pretty much, a blur of blue, nothing much there, not a lot of detail. We'll do the same thing on iOS maps. And, it's still a blur of blue, but the only difference here is that, we see some sparkles in the water, the reflection of the sky. So it does definitely look a little bit more realistic again. That seems to be the theme so far. We'll go ahead and zoom out. Now, one thing Google Earth has that iOS Maps does not, when you're looking at this 3D, Bellagio building, you actually see the water show on Google Earth. I mean, at least a freeze in time of the water show. So you can actually see the water, what it would look like if you were actually to look at it. So pretty cool little feature there. You look at iOS Maps and it's off. There's nothing there. So that's a cool little feature. We'll take a look at the little restaurant here. It's called the Jasmine restaurant. I think it's a restaurant, I'm not sure. But we'll look at it first on the iOS maps on the iPhone. You can see, it does look realistic once again. Do a 3D look at it. You can see the trees surrounding it. And I mean, it looks pretty good. We'll go ahead and look at the other side. This is as close as I could get. I can't get any closer. So we'll go ahead and try the same thing on Google Earth and 3D buildings. So we'll zoom in. And right away you can tell I'm getting a lot closer to what I'm trying to get at than I was on iOS maps. And you can clearly see the Jasmine sign right there. It is a little bit more cartoony, but because we're able to get closer, I'm able to take a better look at it. You can see the trees aren't here on this side, but the trees look a little bit different, the trees that are there. So you actually see it's like kind of like a 3D tree here. Obviously it's not completely rounded, there's just like little edges. These little like little basically branches coming out of the tree, not necessarily a full tree, where on iOS maps it looks a little bit different. Let's see if I could take a look at a tree. So you get more of the the full tree, but then again you're not able to look at as closely. If you zoom out from here, you can't really tell that they're little twigs basically. So that is that. Let's go ahead and turn around and look at the trees over here. So alright, so we see the street over here, see the trees again. See how they look? They're like kind of almost like morphed into like one piece instead of showing individual branches there. And then we'll take a look at this little Eiffel Tower in Paris and do a 3D look at this guy. So detail is really good. Again, it does look pretty realistic here. We'll do the same thing on Google Earth. So we'll turn this guy around, take a look at the trees really quick. So you can see there's more trees on Google Earth. It seems like there's a little bit more detail when it comes to the strip itself. And then we'll take a look at the Eiffel Tower again. And this one looks pretty much the same as it did on iOS maps. I'd say it's a little bit more realistic on iOS maps than over here, but not too big of a difference as it was, on the Bellagio building itself. So yeah, I mean, that's pretty much it. I mean, that's the difference I've seen so far between iOS maps and Google Earth. Basically, I'd have to say Google Earth maybe is a little bit more detailed as far as all the things you could see, but it looks a little bit more realistic on iOS Maps. So that's pretty much the difference. They're both great. I don't know which one I prefer. Sometimes I prefer the iOS Maps one because it looks a little bit, more realistic. So it's pretty cool to look at it that way. Of course, we have Street View here on, Android, where iOS Maps doesn't have that yet, or I don't think it ever will. But anyways, that's pretty much it for me in this video. I just wanted to show you guys the difference. I know a lot of you guys were wondering, what is flyover any different from 3D buildings, but that's pretty much it for me in this video. If you found it helpful, please hit the like button and subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Thank you.